think we've got to the point where we really need to sit down and discuss these guys and be very specific about a few things. I mean, when you got a list of 50 boys on the board, and fundamentally we know what our picks are. We've got pick 1 and pick 21, 22, 41, and obviously hopefully some of these boys maybe. There's going to be some boys that are on the board that we rate fairly highly. They may end up being rookies at the club. So there's a bit to work through, but I think it's got to the point now that, you know, within some of those boys are very close to each other on the board and may land in our part of the draft, that we just break them down a little bit further and have a couple of discussions so we can have a view of whether we pick one over the other. Yeah, the football journey, Lib, what do you think?
Well, I mean, he seems to have, you know, come through a pretty strong pathway, playing under 16s, playing TAC Cup as a bottom age kid, playing Vic Metro this year and being All-Australian, TAC Cup Team of the Year. So he's pretty well credentialed and seems to have stepped up to the mark pretty much, you know, each year that he's gone along. So that's a big tick for him.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you think, Bud?
Yeah, he's been involved with his school program. We know he's competitive. He works hard in all areas. His attention to detail on the ground has improved over the year, just with his work rate, and he uses his athleticism to his advantage.
Yeah, it's a tough one with the school stuff, I mean. You know, I mean, they go in and out of programs, and some can handle that easily, and others find that hard with the continuity.
Yeah, and I guess even the approach and mindset that some of the boys take back to school footy, I guess that's something we've obviously been looking for throughout the year as well, that consistency of effort as well. But yeah, that interruption in their program is something that we've got to factor into their journey, and, you know, all the extra travelling they've done and yeah, the interruptions generally. Did
you think he played well at school, provided the same effort, and did he have that sort of leadership you're looking for one of the better players?
Yeah, I think he was pretty consistent. I think that's one of the things we've liked about him, that, you know, in terms of the effort and approach to games, it's been consistent, be it at school level all the way through to championship level.
Yeah.
So in terms of this player, there's obviously a couple of queries we've had over the journey this year have been around the kick to some degree, but the decision making and maybe that package of attributes. Are we pretty comfortable that that's something that has improved, and, you know, for this part of the draft, we're comfortable picking that player in?
Oh, it definitely improved across the year. It was something that was probably a concern in the first, you know, 6 or 8 weeks of the year, but I think there was a definite change from post-championships or even during the championships towards the end of the year, that it definitely improved. That if you didn't see that first half of the year, you wouldn't have even thought it was a major issue. Attack
and defence, what do you think? I mean, one way, two ways?
Oh, it's definitely more attacking, but a lot of the boys are at this age.
Yeah.
You just want to see some signs of it. You know, he's averaged 2 tackles a game in the championships and 3 in the under-18s, which is obviously not high, but you know, you did see some defensive running, but he's definitely a more attacking player, and that's his biggest attribute.
I think the athleticism sort of plays that way a little bit. Use it to his advantage and be attacking in his game set.
What about the championships, and I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to go back to that. It's the best playing against the best, under pressure, high expectations. Everybody's watching.
Yeah, look, I thought he had a really good carnival, particularly in the back end of the carnival as his confidence grew. And I guess he felt more comfortable playing in a couple of positions higher up the ground. To what Libba was saying earlier about his decision making, I think we saw evidence that had improved as well. He didn't try to take on as much as he was trying to do earlier in the year, so I think he can rest pretty comfortably with those performances.
GPS, I mean, you know, that wasn't a strong showing.
No, which surprised me a little bit. You watch him play and his work rate seemed pretty solid. You know, it's not elite, but you would have liked his GPS numbers to be a little bit better. And given his testing, you know, across the journey has been, you know, sort of middle of the road. You wanted to see a little bit more from there, but it wasn't too bad, and there were no areas of his GPS that were poor. They were all at least sort of, you know, average or above, so that was at least, you know, okay for him.
He does seem like a kid, though, that will work, I think, in terms of the character stuff, and even when we went to his house and interviewed him and seen him subsequently, like, he presents himself really well, and you know there's going to be no lack of desire to do the work and improve himself, which I think's, you know, a plus in trying to overcome some of those issues.
Yeah.
I think ultimately he's someone who would add a lot to our football club if we picked him.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. The versatility and athleticism is is a big key for him and will certainly help us a lot.
Well, this young fella's had a bit of a different journey, Luke.
Yeah, he sort of hasn't played as much, in the major ranks as he's gone along and played here and there, but as the years gone on, he showed that, as he's gone through the levels, he's performed and done quite well. So it shows that they can come from any background, and they don't all have to come through the same system at under 16, under 17 level, but this guy showed that he looks like he's up to the mark.
I wonder why he didn't quite get there early days.
It could be some injuries at the time, whether that, affected his form as well. He wasn't injured the whole time, but sometimes that continuity or lack of continuity can make a big difference. So when they have some injuries along the way, it might take them just a little bit longer to find their feet and, adjust to the levels. And the longer they're out, the longer it'll take for them to get back to their best. So, even if it is only they're out for 3 or 4 weeks, it takes them 3 or 4 weeks back playing again to find their best form. So, maybe it just took him a little bit longer and growing and all that kind of stuff. So, they're a little bit different.
And a couple of unlucky injuries in that as well. Haven't helped, it's, injuries that are impact and outside your control, that all adds to the frustration, I guess.
Yeah. Maybe he can only play one position. What do you think, Bart?
I think there's versatility in his game. I think...
haven't actually seen it, though.
No, but it gives you confidence, his competitiveness. He's got the ability, he shows he's got the ability to do most things well. I think going forward that he would be able to play at least 2 parts of the ground, if possibly 3.
He was quite good actually the day I saw him. He's tough, he worked hard. He looked like he really wanted to win for the team. Some of the school kids go back there and they're not that interested in the school environment, or they'd be rather playing for the higher grades, but he really went back there and took ownership of it. Took a bit of a leadership role and sort of, in the last quarter, it was a close game and he almost put them on their back and helped score a couple of goals, so that was quite impressive.
Maybe we'll go back through his reports and have a good look at specifically what we wrote when we saw him play school footy. It's a good thing if they can do well at lesser levels and show some leadership there. Home visit, Bart? What do you think?
You're seeing a different side to that you probably don't see with others. He's very relaxed and comfortable in his own home and in his own skin and where he's at as a player. It's a different take you probably get from others.
It was a good solid interview.
Yeah, and even at the camp he showed that he's a confident kid, he's confident in his own ability without being arrogant.
Yes.
But he expressed himself well.
Well, he was one that was prepared to talk about some of his teammates pretty candidly. I thought that was interesting. It's always good to get a player's perspective on some of the other boys that they play with, and I thought he was someone that was very candid along the way.
Yeah, it was a good family unit again, like the other boys. So it's pretty tight. There's not much in it, and I suppose the ability to project and think through, what improvement they have in them, how much work they're going to put in, how coachable they are.
Well, I mean, he's a highly fancied kid, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not he's there at our pick.
Anyway, we'll have a spell and we'll move on to the next couple.